The year is 30 AD. The location is the Roman province of Judea and the client kingdom of Galilee. The sky over the northern hills turns a pale, dusty violet. You are standing in Nazareth. The village is carved directly into the rocky, parched hillside. There are no paved avenues, no wide public squares, and no grand stone facades. The settlement is entirely monochromatic, a dense cluster of rough-hewn fieldstones packed tightly with mud and straw, blending seamlessly into the brown earth. It is a survival zone, home to perhaps 400 people living on the absolute razor's edge of poverty. You step into the narrow, winding trench that serves as the main thoroughfare. It is barely 2 meters wide. To walk to the center of the village, you must physically push your way past neighbors, heavily loaded pack donkeys, and the foul, stagnant wastewater that runs directly down the center of the dirt path. The layout is chaotic, but it is deeply defensive. The houses turn their backs to the alleyways, featuring thick, windowless mud walls facing outward. The streets are a zone of dirt and danger. Actual life happens entirely inside the enclosed courtyards. You duck through a low wooden doorway and step into a typical peasant home. The darkness inside is immediate. It takes your eyes several seconds to adjust to the dim light filtering through the roof hatch. Your nose registers the reality of first-century domestic life instantly. The air is thick, humid, and heavy with the overpowering scent of wood smoke, raw animal manure, and damp straw. The architecture is built for pure, harsh utility. The winters in these hills are bitterly cold, and fuel for fires is incredibly scarce. The solution is biological. The floor of the house is split into 2 distinct levels. On the lower, packed dirt level near the door, the family keeps their livestock, a few sheep, a goat, perhaps a donkey. The heat radiating from these 50-kilogram animals naturally rises, warming the elevated stone platform where the human family sleeps, eats, and works. Separating the animal pen from the human living space is a low stone wall. Carved directly into the top of this dividing wall are shallow depressions designed to hold hay and feed for the livestock. That carved stone trough is a manger. When extended family arrives for a census or a festival, the upper living platform quickly becomes overcrowded. There is no separate, luxurious guest room. The overflow of people is forced to sleep down on the lower dirt level, lying directly in the hay, breathing the ammonia, and resting right beside the feeding troughs. It is a cramped, intensely intimate, and profoundly unglamorous existence. By mid-morning, the brutal physical demands of the village take hold. Obtaining water is the most exhausting, treacherous task of the day. The burden falls entirely on the women of the household. They must walk to the single village spring, balancing heavy clay jars on their shoulders. When filled, these jars weigh over 40 pounds. It is a grueling physical trial under the blistering Levantine sun. But the physical weight is secondary to the intense social pressure. The village well is the absolute center of community judgment. It is where marriages are arranged, debts are whispered about, and reputations are ruthlessly dismantled. Respectable women travel to the well in large groups during the cool, forgiving hours of the early morning or the late evening. To walk to the well alone at the 6th hour, high noon, when the sun is a suffocating, blinding weight, is a clear, undeniable signal of social exile. A woman fetching water at noon is choosing the physical torture of the heat because it is less agonizing than the burning, judgmental stares of her neighbors. The well is a tribunal, and survival depends on navigating its politics. But this isolated, dusty village is only half the reality of Galilee. Just 4 miles over the rocky ridge, roughly an hour's walk from the mud walls of Nazareth, a massive alien metropolis is rising from the earth. This is Sepphoris. Herod Antipas, the Roman-appointed ruler of the region, is frantically rebuilding Sepphoris into a grand imperial capital. The contrast is staggering. The dirt trails give way to wide paved Roman streets. The mud brick houses are replaced by towering marble columns, intricate mosaic floors, and a massive stone amphitheater capable of seating thousands. The demand for skilled labor is astronomical. The men of the surrounding villages, the tectons, stonemasons and builders, make the grueling commute over the hills every single morning. They leave their quiet, deeply devout Jewish hamlets and step into a loud pagan construction site. They spend 10 hours a day cutting blinding white limestone and hauling heavy cedar beams to build villas and theatres for the empire that is occupying their land. This environment breeds a fierce, sharp, linguistic reality. In the booming theatres of Sepphoris, Greek actors wear large painted masks to play different roles on stage. The Greek word for these mask-wearing actors is hypocrites. When a Galilean builder returns to his village and uses that specific word to describe the corrupt, two-faced religious elite of his own people, it is a cutting, hyper-local insult born directly from the shadows of the Roman amphitheatre. By 2 p.m., the psychological tension of the Roman occupation presses down on every interaction. Rome is not a distant, abstract government in this province. It is a heavy, mailed fist reaching into your pockets every single day. If you are a fisherman hauling your catch out of the Sea of Galilee, you cannot simply take your fish to the market. You must drag your heavy baskets to the local customs house. Sitting at the wooden tables are the publicans, local Jewish men hired by the Roman authorities to extract taxes. They rummage through your catch, arbitrarily deciding exactly how much of your grueling, dangerous labor will be confiscated to fund the emperor's legions across the sea. These toll collectors are despised, viewed as ultimate traitors to their blood and their God, growing wealthy off the starvation of their own neighbors. But financial extortion is not the most visceral humiliation. The occupation enforces a specific, terrifying mandate known as the Law of the Mile. At any moment, on any dusty road, a fully armed Roman legionary can halt a Jewish citizen. The soldier can drop his incredibly heavy wooden marching pack, his armor and his supplies into the dirt and issue a single command. By imperial law, the civilian is instantly drafted into forced labor. They must carry the heavy Roman gear for exactly 1 Roman mile, roughly 1,000 paces. It is a public, physical breaking of the spirit. A father can be stopped in front of his own children, treated as a pack animal, and forced to march under the whip. The resentment in the streets is a boiling, volatile rage. To suggest that a man should willingly carry that pack for a second mile is a shocking, radically defiant concept that completely upends the power dynamic of the oppressor. By 7 p.m., the sun begins to bleed into the horizon, and a new, primitive fear grips the land. When the last light vanishes, the world does not simply darken, it completely shuts down. The darkness of the ancient Levant is absolute and impenetrable. There is no public street lighting. The Roman patrols carry pitch torches, but they use the light to intimidate, not to guide. Inside the small stone houses, light is a severely rationed luxury. Small pinched clay lamps burn olive oil, but this is the exact same olive oil used for cooking and daily calories. Keeping a lamp burning through the night literally means burning the family's food supply. The moment the sun sets, the vast majority of the population simply secures their doors and goes to sleep. The darkness brings intense vulnerability. Walled cities and towns enforce an inflexible, terrifying rule. The heavy wooden and iron gates are locked at nightfall. If a traveller is delayed on the road and arrives at the city gates 5 minutes after sunset, there is no negotiation. The guards will not open the doors. The traveller is forced to sleep outside the walls, huddling in the dirt, completely exposed to the bitter desert cold, roaming packs of wolves and highway bandits. The wall is the only barrier between civilization and total, violent chaos. Even inside the homes, the fear persists. Criminals in this era do not bother picking heavy iron locks or smashing reinforced wooden doors. The architecture itself is the weak point. Thieves are known in the local Aramaic and Greek dialects as wall piercers. Under the cover of total darkness, they use bronze tools to quietly, methodically dig a hole straight through the dried mud and fieldstone at the rear of the house. the nocturnal terror of the first century is lying awake in the pitch black, listening to the muffled rhythmic scraping of a tool digging through your bedroom wall. In this world, light is not a poetic metaphor. Light is the absolute, urgent physical guarantee of survival. By the following week, the grueling daily routine is interrupted by the most massive, dangerous logistical event in the region, the Passover pilgrimage. You join the immense caravans walking south, descending into the scorching heat of the Jordan Valley, passing through the oasis of Jericho and making the steep, treacherous climb up the mountains of Judea. You crest the ridge and Jerusalem reveals itself. The city is a high-altitude fortress of pale limestone. The permanent population is roughly 80,000, but during the festival, it violently swells to over 250,000 people. The narrow paved streets are choked with pilgrims, merchants, and herds of sheep. The air is incredibly thick with the smell of roasting meat, burning cumin, and the overwhelming, intoxicating scent of pure frankincense. Looming over the entire city, dominating the skyline, is the Second Temple. It is the largest functioning religious complex on the face of the earth. The massive retaining walls are built with limestone ashlar blocks, weighing up to 400 tons each. You ascend the monumental southern steps, passing through the dark subterranean Hulda gates, and step out into the blinding sunlight of the court of the Gentiles. The plaza is a deafening, chaotic machine of devotion and commerce. The money changers sit at heavy wooden tables, exchanging foreign silver for the required Tyrian shekels. The sounds of bleating animals, shouting merchants, and the rhythmic chanting of the Levite choirs echo off the towering marble porticos. The inner sanctuary is covered in so much heavy gold plate that when the midday sun strikes it, it is literally blinding to look at. But looming ominously over the northwest corner of the sacred courts is the Antonia fortress. Heavily armed Roman legionaries stand on the high stone walls, looking directly down into the crowds. They are gripping their spears, their shields resting on the parapets, watching for any sign of a riot. The tension is a physical weight pressing against your ribs. The Jewish zealots are circulating in the crowds, hiding small curved daggers, the seeker, under their cloaks, waiting for a moment of chaos to slit the throats of the Roman collaborators. This city is a powder keg. It is a society that values ritual purity and absolute devotion to the covenant above human life itself, crushed under the boot of an empire that demands total, uncompromising submission. The pressure building in these dusty alleyways, around these water wells, and on these monumental marble steps cannot hold indefinitely. The breaking point is inevitable. 40 years from this moment, the fury will finally explode into open, suicidal rebellion. The Roman legions will march on Jerusalem. They will besiege the walls, starving the population until the streets smell of death. The great temple, the invincible golden center of the world, will be set ablaze. The heat of the fire will be so intense that the gold will melt and run into the cracks of the massive paving stones, prompting the Roman soldiers to tear the sanctuary apart, block by block, to pry out the precious metal. The physical destruction will be absolute, but the words spoken in the darkness of the Galilean hills, the debates held by the water wells, and the fierce, uncompromising beliefs forged under the weight of the Roman occupation will survive the fire. This video is brought to you by the Paladin Learn History app. Scan the QR code to learn more history.